Okay. Sorry, I should have cleared my throat before I started. But anyway, I didn't put any announcements or anything, so I'm probably not going to have too many live viewers. But I'm coming in to do the energy report. Now, I did a pre-April 4th meditation report. Now I'm coming in to do the after meditation report, and also to kind of chit chat about what I feel energetically, basically is guided to come in and guided to come in the past 3 days, but I wasn't in the right mind frame. So I want to give a little time, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be in the right mind frame. So I'm just coming in to kind of say my piece, and then to kind of give the energies a chance to speak, because I think it's more them at this point is wanting to speak than truly me. But nonetheless, giving that opportunity, I feel like I don't want to miss that boat. So I want to I want to take note for those. I feel this is going to be highly resonant to the pre-reading that I had. So maybe have a look at that. Basically, I pulled a 3 card run, and the first card, it was all through the Isis Oracle deck. Again, I'm going to mention this right away here. Basically, this Isis Oracle, right, is based off the divine feminine energy. And I find it highly interesting in the news how that name's been vilified. I want to pay attention to that, because as I'm doing the reading, I can get feedback from the future. And the word Isis is really, it grates on people's nerves because of all of the energy attached to it in the news in the past, having to do with negative energy, right? I'll leave it at that. And every reading, it's like, well, we got a condition because Isis is really the feminine movement. And I say that lightly, meaning feminine energy that is trying to rise on the surface of the earth, compassion, heart, all of it. And this is truly what the other energies are trying to suppress. So the fact that this is getting that kind of a feedback energetically that I'm receiving already is just really not going to help if we can't get past that itch of being brainwashed, that the Isis name is in a negative frequency. So we have to rise above all of that, and truly feeling everywhere that people really have to rise above the bickering. It's like a mother walking into the house and the 2 kids are fighting. We have to rise above and not get pulled into that. That's really what I feel is going on in the news. These are the children. They're, not knowing what to do or how to do it, and they're arguing amongst themselves. We really have to rise above that. Feel that highly. And again, finding it interesting how the news has vilified the Isis name, and that's really the divine feminine trying to break in here with compassion, love, and caring forward. So I wanted to make mention of that first off, because that name is really got a bad rap up to here in the press, in the news, in the media. So that's interesting to me, with the history, how it can be brainwashed into the people for negative. Keep this in mind as we move forward, because we are going to be tricked, swindled out of everything that we hold dear if we do not stand tall and hard for what we believe in. Now, we're going to have to use our instinct. And if we are not accustomed to this is really going to be our downfall. And and not in a simple way either, where, oh, okay, I'll learn that lesson. It's like, no, we may not be here if we make this mistake. So needing to say that. Now, again, going back to my last reading, the first card I pulled was Truths That Will Be Unveiled. I'm seeing evidence of this all over. I have really put myself in a psychic bubble and trying not to absorb anything and stay pure. And it's really hard. because I truly do feel essence waves of everything, no matter. So again, trying to be in the greatest mind frame, just it's not sitting well with me at this point. But nonetheless, feeling an overwhelming urge to come forward with that, no matter, because I'm not the only one feeling this, right? So truths being unveiled in the news, this is really where I see a lot of this coming forth. Now, for those who are, and I mean, I put myself highly, I fight this in myself, put myself in a sense of dreamland where, oh, suddenly there's going to be a reset and away we go. Though we want to believe this, this is truly not all that sits here. We really are going to have to take action on things based on these lies and untruths. So we really are going to have to use our gut and our logic. We're just not going to see clearly. So I don't know if I'm warning you or preparing you to do this, to just key out of your logic. I mean, don't throw it away, but go down deeper into your instinct. If your guts are turning, even the lightest little turn, I don't think it's going to be light here. We need to listen to that and pause, because the thing here is, don't be pushed into something out of fear or any kind of angle like that, because this is really what these people prey upon, and this is really what they're trying to do, no matter what their agenda. They're trying to get something over on us, and we really have to cut underneath that and go, oh, no, we're not going to have this kind of thing. So truths being unveiled, we're starting to see that, and the unbelievables, right? I can't believe that. It's too crazy. It's too wacky. Listen to your gut. Okay. The second card that I had in the past was psychic protection. Now, there is a pyramid of light. There's greater good here overall. And again, when I go back into my infinity room, I'll post some of the energetic waves. I want to make sure I get the right graph and put it out there to show the impact that people meditating and praying and whatnot had on the earth on April 4th. If you were part of that, if you're not, you can do that at any time outside of April 4th. It is not like you missed the boat. We can go in and we can think and send energy anytime, any place, anywhere. It will be effective. So there is a sense here of psychic protection overall, is what I get. But we can't forget the common person. We can't forget our common rights. The universal energies, whatever you want to call them, they really can't interfere with your own free will. But if you get tricked into or manipulated into a decision out of your free, like your free will gets manipulated, that is something that will come to a consequence. So we have to think highly of this at this time, is what I'm really getting guided, not for my own self, but for everybody out there. We really have to think deeper. And then the third card that I pulled was be in your power and stay true to you. So if you feel like you're being infringed upon, it's because you probably are. You feel your rights are being taken advantage of, it's probably because they are. So we need to look and stand up for those things in areas that we can. Again, non-violence, but we can stand in our truth and say, no, I do not want to take that, in whatever form. I'm how you say, well, one of the news things I caught today on Facebook was, no, I do not want to take that needle, mister. I don't want to take it in. If you feel a gut feeling and that makes you, then you use your own gut to rule that. I can't push that any further. Stay true to you and stay in your power. This is what they're trying to take away. And this will be a manipulation tactic. It's not going to be an easy, especially those that aren't used to coming from instinct or making action from instinct. This is going to be a hard press, but I'm hoping the energies amp up enough to, turn our stomach. So it's like, oh, I don't feel, this doesn't feel right, to a degree that we don't. They're prompting me to tell a story when I was young. And again, when I was young, I was very non-instinctual, right? I I used to travel across the country quite a bit. Oh, give me a second here. And I'd make long trips, from Saskatchewan. I'm from Canada, so I'd go from Saskatchewan, Alberta, BC, the coast, and back again. So I'd make these long trips in the middle of the night, whatever. And like this was like 20 some years ago. And one of the trips that I made, again, not in touch with my spiritual side, not instinctive. I mean, I did tarot cards back then, but that was it. I didn't really tap into that because you're young, you're exploring, and your ego is up front, nothing else. So anyway, I'm traveling through, and I'm tired. I'm lagged, and I like to travel at night because it was like all of a sudden you wake up in the morning and you're somewhere, right? And through the mountains too. I had a reluctance to really, want to see the roads I was traveling on. So I ended up in this one area, was coming out of the mountains, and it was, again, I was tired. My eyes were tired. I'm like, I got to rest here, the next town. And there was a little town and just a little road that kind of that highlighted on the surface, and the town was down lower. And then there was a little parking lot. And it wasn't a parking lot for a business. It was just a parking lot you could pull over in. There was no business, no nothing, no light. Like there was two lights and that's it. And I'm like, oh, that's a good little place. And there was nobody there that I noticed. So then I pull in and I park right next to the highway. And my car, my door didn't lock from the outside, or from the inside. You couldn't lock. You had to go out, lock it, and then come back around, get in. So I did that. And I was like, I need this rest or I'm going to crash or something. So as I was laying down, of course you're pumped because you're driving and you want to get home, and laying down and trying to relax my eyes. And as I was relaxing my eyes and starting to fall asleep, my stomach started turning. And I was like, what the hell? And so then it got to a point where almost like, the beginning stages, dare I say it, of the flu, where you have nausea and you just feel like you're going to puke, but you don't puke. This was the feeling I was getting, how strong it was. And it came on just like that. So I was like, whoa, my stomach was turning, then it's nausea. And then I'm like, holy, I got to sit up because I can't even, I feel like I'm going to have to open the door. Of course, the door's locked, right? So I sit up right away. And then I notice in the corner of the parking lot, there's at the time, those Jimmies, those big SUVs. And I'm like, what? I didn't notice that truck there. But there's no lights. No, I was trying to look into, because there's very little light coming in way in the corner. And again, it's all bush. There's no business, nothing. Why is someone parked way in the corner? And I thought, oh. So I was thinking about that. And I'm like, And then I was kind of, had an instinct to be aware of your surroundings. So I looked around, nobody, nothing, just that car, and there's nobody there. No lights, no action, no movement. I couldn't see through the vehicle to see if there was someone sitting there, but it was dark enough. So I'm like, So then I started to feel better. So then I'm like, okay, I need to get my rest. So I laid down, and again, I felt nausea like you wouldn't believe. So I got up, I said, okay, I'm out of here. And out I went. Now, fast forward 20 years later, a friend of mine posts a news article about the Road of Tears and how many people have been abducted or killed or murdered along this highway, or disappeared. That was the highway I was on. So I feel very highly that I was saved there, though we'll never know, right? Because I never had an incident happen. So it was interesting to me. And the more they take me back to that incident, it's like we need to listen to our guts. Just trying to hit home here with this. We get the turning in the stomach, the nausea, that kind of stuff. This could be your instincts firing off. So be aware of that. All that to hit that home. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I usually don't shuffle in front of the camera, not because I'm trying to set things up, but because it just takes a lot of time to do that, and it's very monotonous and whatnot, but I'm going to do it here now. So really, when I set up these two videos, companions here, again, I wish I had better video for last time. I just was not in a mode to go on. I didn't, nothing. I wasn't in a mode, but nonetheless, the information is out there. Have a look at that after this video. Yeah. And then we'll go from there. This is just basically, I'm going to read and tap into whatever they want me to highlight here. Energetically, again, I just feel like we're coming across the tipping point here. The tipping point has been reached. We're coming across a point where we have to stand up for ourselves. If we do not, things can go awry, okay? No matter what has been done in other circles, we really do have to stand up for our rights and not just lay down for these people. And I'm saying people, but governments and whatnot telling us what to do here. We really have to use our instincts, you know, and not be fear-mongered, because this is really what's going on to the degree we can't see straight. So we need to remove ourselves if we're not feeling centered and clear. Yeah, these are hopping, man. We need to remove ourselves to a degree where we feel calm and at peace, and then start to make decisions. If we are panicked and in fear, we need to get out of that. So if the news is doing this, then get away from the news for a day or so. Let yourself even out, and then start to make decisions from there. And again, using your heart quite highly will help. For an anger, fear, and resentment, it's just not going to see straight, and we'll make bad decisions. Now, I also wanted to tap into a little bit of what the energetic frequencies are in regards to that meditation. So I'm hoping I'll tap into that after this, after these three cards. So we're going to shift another three. These two popped out already. Oh, look, there's the third. Good stuff. Okay, so first card that popped. Get myself set up here. Okay, the first card here we have is the Miracle of Isis. Again, that word, we're going to have to get used to it in a compassionate way. And this is the interesting thing as well. Not only have we been brainwashed to not like that word ISIS, it's been vilified in the press. Not only that, but there's going to be things, a reversal of that as well. People that have been good and seen as good, revealed as not so good. And that's going to be hard to swallow. So we're going to have compassion there as well. Okay. So again, Miracle of Isis, miraculous healing of the goddess. Now, I also do a lot of twin flame stuff. Tapping into that, I've backed away from that because I have a belief system about it that I think is either in shift, or I'm really having a negative view of it, and I don't know where to sit from it. So I'll open that up since the door is open. Basically, I'm starting. Now, again, this is not something in cement. This is stuff I'm flirting with because I don't know where I sit with all of this twin stuff. Now, I do believe in twin souls. The purpose of them, I'm not too sure. I have a feeling that the twin soul is really just the ultimate reveal of good and evil. You have, or the perception of such, right? Because there's truly, how do you say, I'm not of the belief system that because you have good, you have to have evil. I'm not of that. I'm learning not to trust that. So I'm in flux with that energy up front. Now, when you have these twins coming along, a lot of people that I've personally come into contact with have really had negative situations come. Now, that's just my surroundings. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, that you can have a positive outcome. In fact, that's, I think, the ultimate goal, but not without great compromise and strength from each individual. So we're not ready for that struggle to become truly who we are. We just will not make success in the area of these relationships. Now, what I'm noticing in my circles is that you'll have a masculine or feminine, and it's not exclusive to either. And one's a positive and one's a negative. And you have to balance, each one has to balance the other out, meaning say the feminine is the positive, the masculine is the negative. This is not exclusively so. I'm just using an example. The feminine positive has to gain more negative to balance, meaning they have to understand the negative. They can't be blind to the negative. That's that shadow side. We have to accept that and rise above that. Now, if the masculine is a negative, he has to do the same with the compassionate side. He has to balance that out and become whatever. Now, if this is not even going to be tried and our ego is in the way on either side, because you can have a positive in their ego and they just will not make progress and block things, and you can do the same for the negative and block things. So this is the whole thing. This is what I'm thinking is the challenge here. Like, you really do have to become the greatest potential of what you can become. And if you refuse to do that for superficial reasons, just the relationship just won't mix. So needing to highlight that was something they wanted me to bring up, and I was like, well, if it comes up, it came up. So anyway, it's interesting to me here. We have a man with a woman. Either it said she's on his back. It looks like she's on his back or trying to support him, or I don't know what's going on here. But very closely knit, right? Is what I'm getting here. Man, just no matter what, you just get glare. So I'm going to read from this, and then I'll just riff with the energies here, whatever they give me. I'm just noting highly. They're going, look how close, and how is she supporting him? Is that what's going on? Or does he need support? This is what's going through my head here. So we'll go through here and see what we come up with. Guess Miracle of Isis, okay. Okay, here we go. So, the miraculous healing of the goddess, okay? So Isis was known as a talented practitioner of the healing arts, was capable of miraculous healing. For you, beloved, she offers a miracle healing, and no matter how much you have struggled with a particular matter, no matter how impossible it may seem to imagine your life without this old wound, addiction, problem, relationship issue, or inner struggle being part of it, you are guided now to accept the possibility of miraculous healing, to let go and let the goddess be. So there's a sense here. Yeah, look at how she's hanging on though, right? Yeah, interesting. Okay. Sorry, I'm my throat. I'm speaking, so it should be clearing up. The Lady Isis wishes to lift a load that has become too heavy for you, to heal on your own, beloved. So the sense here is she is trying to get him to realize a burden that he's carrying, is what I'm getting. She cannot take something away from you if you're not willing to release it. Release it to her, however. Release for healing means trust, letting go of attachments to outcome and how that outcome might be achieved, and opening to the divine genius of healing that seeks to express the perfection of divine love through to you now. Now, this is interesting because I'm getting fine-tuned right down into relationships, personal relationships. And it may be that the masculine here is hanging on to things that are burdensome to him, but the feminine may feel frustrated in this because they are at a point where they cannot heal unless there's an active participant, meaning he really truly does have to take part in his own healing and let go of those things that are blocking or hindering him. And until he does this, she can have no effect on him in that way. Even in a healing way, she can't. And it's interesting because I'm dealing with issues like that as well. Energetically, when I do a healing, universe is starting to stop me from pushing my energy outward. Why? Because they're saying the person has to be an active participant and they have to do at least 50%. If they're not, then they put in that work in order to get the true effect here. They have to be an active participant. I feel like this is what's going on here, kind of morphing into a masculine feminine reading. Like the feminine is hanging on to that masculine, like, I can heal you, I can, but not without your help. And it almost looks like this man is in fear of something, and because of that she cannot get in. This is the sense I'm getting. Because you're in fear, you have to let go of that fear, or those that fear that you fear is burdening you, this kind of thing. So the miracle of Isis cannot happen. The feminine cannot affect the masculine until he lets go of his fear center and that which he fears, and completely comes through that blockage. Because that's really what's blocking the masculine, as we see here, this little story unfolding. They're asking me to get the words. Miraculous healing of the goddess. Yeah. So they're going to keep the goddess in mind and maybe having struggles like this as well in a different kind of way. So I'll carry on. To hand something over for healing, especially when it has been a long-term or persistent difficulty, or simply seems too great or overwhelming to be healed, takes a radical change of mind and heart. To dare to hope without becoming attached to how or when something can happen, to surrender without forgetting to follow your intuition and act accordingly, to trust even though you may have been disappointed or hurt in the past. All these things take skill and courage. And that as well, man, I'm coughing here. I had cheese for supper, so I think that's why. Yeah, I'm getting a sense. I mean, just to emphasize, the masculine here is what I'm feeling is just overwhelmed with things. It feels like he's under, how do you say, under the bus. He just can't turn it over. And the thing is not feeling skillful or courageous at this time. So that's maybe the burden itself that's going on. It says, yet these are the requirements for us to surrender into the great healing of the divine love. Lady Isis speaks through this oracle and says to you that recovery from trauma and emotional healing is not only possible, but if you're willing, it can happen for you now. No matter the depth of grief, loss, despair, fear, or anger, love can and will absorb all of it. So, yeah, there's a sense of loss here, complete loss. And I think what's going on is because there's just no love left in either the masculine or the feminine's heart here. We need to dig underneath to find that. It says this oracle is also an indication that a spiritual gift or awakening of deep healing ability at a new level are coming your way. So keep your eyes and heart open and let go of doubt or fear about opening up to a new level of proficiency. Dedicate your work to divine love and trust that it will flow through you stronger now. You're capable of great work when you trust in your own heart and the love of the divine flowing through you with total surrender. They're wanting me to go through this healing. They have like an action that you can do in here. I don't usually read this out, but they're wanting me to do that. It says here, this is a ritual for the healing miracle of Isis. So healing love, getting in touch with the love center, if this is what you so desire, right? So it says, ideally you use a flower for this exercise, but you can also use a small crystal. or sacred object in its place, such as a stone, a small dish of sand, or anything that you're willing to release completely after the ritual is completed, to let go, a symbolic letting go. There's something here that sits heavy amongst that needs to be released. Sit quietly and gaze at the object of your choice. Say, I call upon the loving miracle healing of Isis, and just as the flower or the other sacred object is the subject to creation and destruction, life and death, so too can the pain that has plagued me finally rest in peace in the loving embrace of the goddess. So hold your left hand over your heart and your right hand over the object and say, I give deep honoring and gratitude for the sacrifice of this beloved sacred flower or whatever object you have, and release the pain, the issue, any attachment to it, conscious or unconscious, into this sacred receptacle now. So you breathe in, and as you breathe out, you allow any pain, attachment, or suffering to flow from your heart out of your right hand and be transferred into the sacred object. So a transferring of that, or an awareness of that, and putting that energetically into that object and releasing. It says, you say aloud, beloved Isis, miracle healer and princess of the healing arts, take the suffering from me now. I surrender it to you to heal, and let me find the wisdom and peace and resolution that is meant to come from this dark blessing, and may the darkness be turned to light, and karmic grace and unconditional love, so be it. Thank you for your assistance. I open to your healing completely. Withdraw your hands into a prayer position and gently bow before your object. Before taking it and placing it somewhere in a garden or a natural setting where it will not be disturbed, it is recommended that you tuck it into the earth and place it where it is not likely to be picked up by a curious wanderer by. And then you can finish the ritual with the incantation. The incantation below. And it says, love and light, peace and power, miracle healing descends this hour. The wings of Isis drenched with feeling. Nothing escapes her miracle healing. Surrendered to her from my heart. So true, which is now exactly what I choose to do. Gratitude for Isis for the miracle coming to me, her love and grace now set me free. So a lot of these people back in the day, they do these huge, ceremonies and whatnot. I mean, people for the bad do it as well. It's really just making an awareness of what it is we want to honor or whatever. Some people do this in dishonorment, but to honor something, and really what they're trying to say here is we're honoring that emotion for letting it help us grow, but we have to let it go and release it. And when you infuse it into an object, it physically does something. It's your awareness of it that makes it true. So when you witness yourself doing this little ritual, it makes it more powerful, right? It makes it more powerful to you. You remember it, and it can be more effective. So this is why they do these things. I mean, if it is not your vibration, I feel a resistance to this. You do not have to do it, but in some way be mindful of a burden that you carry, and be mindful of getting it out, getting it away from you, releasing it somehow. And the way that I'm learning to release is to just acknowledge, feel what it makes you feel. Like if there's pain and hurt, we have to feel that. The reason that it's a burden on us is because we're not feeling it, and then releasing from there. So that is the first card in the Miracle of Isis. Again, it's interesting because is he coming back to her? Like there's a great jointness here, wants to be seen. But again, the woman seems at peace, but the man seems in fear of something. Yet the woman here seems I don't know if that's just my perception. She seems somewhat unaffected, or at least not as much as he is. So he has to release that fear, that burden, whatever it is, it's burdening. I'm getting that highly. So the next card that flipped out, again, magic and ritual. Creating a sacred practice. Now, again, this can be on the good or bad side of things. And we're just hoping these people are doing this on the good side. keeping that in mind, because you really are more powerful in that way. And even though people who do dark incantations will get some result, they really just do not see from a higher vantage point, because it's just of the negative, right? Just like the fact here of what's going on um, energetically, we're seeing a lot of inconsistencies in the press and changes, right? Fluctuations quite highly. And this is not only to confuse, but it's because the energy that they're coming from is a negative vibration. They'll sit here. When you're working in a positive, you just surpass that. You see more, feel more, sense more. They cannot do this at this level. That's why they're being exposed. Everyone in the positive vibe has advanced them to a certain degree. So we're really looking down and going, look at you guys, just chaos making. Like, what are you doing? And they are unaware that they're not getting away with it, which is to our betterment, because it's really going to be just totally unveiled, which is what's going on in the process. We're seeing things don't add up here. What's going on? Like, why are they saying this and then they're saying that? It's complete opposite. How can that be? Why are we not getting our head together and putting things out when things are right, instead of giving misinformation? This is too much inconsistencies. This is being realized, but they're not realizing that they're in a different center, an ego center, which is in the process of dying, by the way. That ego center is always going to trip them up. It's always because they have blind faith that things will work in their power. And the problem is that they don't understand what true power is. So they will stay at that level. No, never underestimate that, because they continually jump back and forth, and that unpredictability. The unpredictability is going to be their downfall. Now, again, magic and ritual, I feel like this, again, can go from personal all the way to global, because this is what's going on. And again, it highly links, right? The first card that I had in the last reading was Truths Unveiled. And then here it's talking about the masculine and the feminine imbalance. The masculine side, okay? And I feel like, again, the masculine has been in power over the earth, and we've had some chaos because their strengths are not in the best interest of all involved. The fighting, the war, those strengths are not in the betterment of all people. So the earth is counterbalancing the energies with the feminine. We need love and compassion, people. So we need to counterbalance that. So this is the Isis coming, right? The Isis feminine energy coming to bear itself to rebalance. And so there's going to be a struggle here. This is the struggle, really, the lies and the compassion for those lies, to see from a higher vantage point. This is not right. So we just need to do that to diffuse things. But they're going to, really what I'm getting guided to say here is they are really going to pull out all the stops here. They're not going to be stopped from attempting to do what they want to do. They're going to continue to do it. But we are seeing things for what they are. So we just need to be aware that our guts need to ride the way. What's the word? Lead the way. Okay. Oh, man. So magic and ritual. Okay. I'm going to read that. How do I get rid of that glare? I can't really. Sorry, guys, but okay, so the second one I had from the last reading was about psychic protection. Here we have magic and ritual. This is, and I feel like prayer is involved here. I feel like this is where we really have to rely upon our minds to push the energy, good or bad. And not only in prayer, but how we are on the earth. If we are arguing and fighting even within our family, that's creating an energy vibration that contributes to the earth, and it expands, right? So it's just not you, it expands universally. So that's what I'm feeling. This is really the background of this, but I'm gonna read here no less. So it says crafting sacred practice. Again, this is kind of hoodoo voodoo stuff, but the bottom line here is we have to make choices. Which side are we on here? And be aware of that and go in that way. And if we're having a hard time staying sane or staying positive, then we have to make adaptations so that we can do that. We can continue to do that and not be dragged in by the chaos and the muck is really over all of this stuff. So, okay, magic and ritual. Effect in the external world can be created through inner practice. So magic and ritual can support your divine path now in the physical world, and you are encouraged to enhance your power with regular practice. That means the love vibration, the happy vibe, good vibes. This is what we want to practice. Okay, this is what I'm getting. The result that you can experience will encourage you to continue with this practice as you grow in power, grace, love, ability, and wisdom, and apply your inner beauty to transform your outer world. And that's really what I was getting anyway, energetically, is we need to inner inner resonance has to transform the outer world. This is the war. So if we're bitter on the inside, negative about the news, can't stay positive, get away from the news, try to get in a mode that this is really all it is about. So this is part of that. And they're calling it magic because people don't understand that there's an effect there. And so if we say magic, well, maybe they'll understand it's beyond their comprehension. And I don't think it's that far beyond most comprehension nowadays anyway. We're understanding that things are changed. Science is changing. You know, these things that we needed in paper and in writing, it just no longer applies in a way that gets us forward. We really have to change and adapt things. Okay. Feel like I'm lecturing. So yeah, applying your inner beauty to transform your outer world. That's really the key here. And if we can't do that, we need to get to a place where we can do that. So for us to grow empowered and potent on the path of ancient feminine power, we need to honor our knowing and being and cultivate sacred practice. So this becomes the habit of growing our spiritual power and consciousness, like a garden needing regular care and watering to blossom, flourish. Our inner garden of the soul, where our activity, joy, spiritual gifts, and bliss bubble away, also needs regular attention, and coming to our practice takes strength and inner will. Even though it can feel amazing, we still have to wake up, set aside time, and discipline ourselves to show up for our own inner growth. And I know this is something that because I'm probably the least structured person you'll ever meet. Like I really do fly by the seat of my pants. Like if they tell me to go here, I go there. I do not structure. So I'm trying to adapt this in my own life as well. And people on the Infinity page know that. It's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Where'd she go? She's gone. Because I'm just following the impulses of what I need to do here and there. And my structure kind of takes backseat. So an ability to put that forth and say, you know what, my spirituality matters. And by that, I do not mean religion. I mean my own understanding of my own instinct and my connection to something other than just me, right? Well, you and your connection to that power, if you believe in it, right? Where was I? Coming to our practice takes strength and inner will. And even though it can feel amazing, we still have to wake up, set aside time, and discipline ourselves to show up for our own inner growth. We will reap the benefits when we do, but we must allow ourselves to fall in love with our practice, to craft something that really speaks to us so that we want to do it. And that's the thing, is the excitement has to be there. It shouldn't feel like a chore. So we have to kind of get into a mode where that's the case, where we're excited to engage in this. I have a hard time with that as well. You know, sometimes I'll put things off, not realizing how enjoyable they can be. for me when I get to do them. And it's like, well, why did I put it off? I don't know, you know? So this is the essence that I'm getting. People are kind of putting this off because one, it hasn't been a priority, but they don't realize how good and nourishing it can be if they make it a priority. This is what I'm getting. The desire to I lost my place. We will reap the benefits, and when we do, but we must allow, we will reap, sorry, okay, just give me a minute here. We will reap the benefits when we do, but we must allow ourselves to fall in love with our practice, to craft something that really speaks to us so that we want to do it. The desire and the discipline together help us engage with our practice regularly, and we can grow so fast it can be quite shocking. And when an initiate shows particular promise, higher guidance will often encourage that they develop a regular practice to hone their spiritual and creative abilities and more fully manifest their divine potential. They will grow faster, stronger spiritually, and be able to step into spiritual healing and leadership to greater effect. You are one such soul, and you are being guided to prepare for this growth and authority now with your sacred practice. I feel like, yeah, that's just like the movement, right? To spiritually evolve. Even though we understand this mentally, there needs to be steps taken physically to take it one deeper, right? Oh, yes, we need to sit down for 5 minutes a day and relax our mind and quiet our mind, what they call meditation, to a degree that we can actually accept things coming in that are of a greater, how you say, of a greater substance than what we're taking in our daily life. Where was I here? You yeah, you are one soul. You are being guided to prepare for your growth and authority now with your sacred practice. Okay, so this oracle is guidance that you do have greater power and wisdom within you, but you need to provide channels for it to flow and be active and empowered in your physical life. So, sacred practice is such a channel, and without these channels, your ego is left to create its own, which is not much fun at all. The ego believes in fear, in separation, and no matter how much it may want to feel love, bliss, and connection, joy, and fulfillment, it really cannot do it without your spiritual presence in life. And that's, I kind of vilify the ego, but it is something we really have to be in control of, to a degree where it's not running the show. And um, this really is energetically, the ego is being targeted now. So those with a high ego are going to be struggling heavy. Okay. They're going to be finding blockages everywhere they turn. They're going to be in disillusion. They're not going to know what's going on. No clarity, none of it. So this is, really a universal stop and reboot. And this is an opportunity to rein our ego in. And some people will choose to recognize it, highlight it, and be in control of it from here, balance it out. Some will choose to jump on the horse and ride it home and create havoc and chaos and whatnot. So this is really, I don't feel we're going to all be singing praises here. I feel like there's going to be people who are just going to choose to do what they've always done and go in that direction, and they're free to do that. It's just not going to be running in my circles, right? So this is what's going on. The ego really believes in fear and separation. So if you are really, if you carry any kind of sexism, racism, this kind of thing, this is your ego. This is ruling. And this is something that just cannot be if we're going to move into an area where we're from understanding and compassion. That's the opposite, separation and fear, right? So we need to realize this and make an informed decision, right? at least be from our truth. If we're going to be in fear and separation, then you stand tall in that. If you're going to be in compassion and acceptance, then you stand tall in that, right? So where was I here? Ritual and magic as a form of sacred practice are recommended for you as a way of being more spiritual. And again, what they're talking about here, they use the word ritual. I'm feeling that's highly triggering for some. I think what they're talking about here is the fact that we daily make room. Make room daily, weekly, monthly, whatever you choose. Maybe you only want to do it once a week on a Sunday, and you just tune into that and you peace out and away you go, because it's really a harmonizing, centering thing that they want you to get in tune with, and that once you feel that, you're going to want to infuse it more. And that's what they're saying. It's really healthy. They want you to get into that. So a lot of these words can be triggering for people that don't quite understand the bigger picture. So as a form of sacred practice, you're recommended for you in a way to bring more spiritual presence into your waking life, to heal and support the ego as you learn to create the life that feels better and brings you and others more fulfillment. Again, healing the ego. We cannot really get rid of it, and we should not, because it does help us move forward. But we can't let it run the show, because it gets into the fear and separation. So it really has to be balanced. So sacred practice with magic and ritual may involve any of the guided exercises in the oracle, and choose what feels good for you. Again, if it don't feel good for you, you're not ready for it. You're meant to dip into something else, and just go there. You don't have to fight it or whatever. You just turn away from it and focus your energy in a direction you feel guided to go. Everybody has to use their own inner compass to go where they need to go, and they're that way. Even if it's not what I'm saying, I don't resonate, then you go where you resonate. You go where your soul speaks. And that's the thing, is you just may not be in a mode. We may be skipping steps, so we got to go somewhere else first, or maybe we don't come back at all. We go on a different path altogether. You're free to do that, you know. So yeah, choose what feels good for you and experiment with what might be a regular pattern or practice for you. You are worth the effort. So remember, whatever effort you put in will be repaid to you in wonderful benefits many times over. Once you experience this, it might only take a day or a week or two for the effect to show itself, and you will be more committed and want to continue. And that's the sense they're going. We just want you to try it. And once you try, what do you feel? And go from that. Use your instinct, right? The effects are cumulative. As you continue, the positive effects grow. So if you've recently started a sacred practice, this oracle is confirmation that it may be working well for you, and you should not give it up if you're not seeing results that you had hoped for. They are coming to you fast. Now, this is also a confirmation that if you are considering making an adjustment in your practice, it might be time to do so, provided that you don't dismiss the gains you've already made with your current practice, and you remember that sometimes small changes can have a big effect. Now, that's this. Yeah, just give me a minute to tune in here, because I'm getting a sense this whole prayer thing. People are going, well, nothing happened, but things happen. But the results of those things happening, it's like a chain effect that takes time to engage and whatnot. So I feel like that's really what they're making me feel, and even myself. I mean, I understand this on a greater level, but energetically, I feel, oh yeah, things are shifting. And it does shift, because you can shift the opinion of one person, and that's a chain reaction that goes down the line, and it hits something very important. But that all takes time to hit. The wave it needs time to go where it's supposed to go. And in order to do it properly, divine timing, all of that. So ritual practice with a clear intent to be of service to the highest good and to manifest through unconditional love accelerates your power and growth, particularly when it's based on what your heart truly desires. So when you are infused with your, like, if you feel highly, like, me, I feel highly guided that my purpose is to heal. And I do this energetically through readings. It could be just soothing someone and giving them a higher vantage point. Like, you have a reading and sometimes you wonder, did I help here or what, and sometimes you never know. But what they keep reassuring me of is sometimes people just need a higher vantage point in order to make their decisions clearly. And at that point they may be guided to go to you or someone else to get that answer, and usually that is all lined up, all the way up. Your higher self and your guides and all your dudes up there are lining up and they're going pushing you. And that's usually when someone is guided to go in and, okay, I need to get a reading, or I need to get an energy workup, or I need to whatever. And then that takes them to the next step, the next level. Anyway, I'm babbling. Okay. So an example of a practice is outlined now, but it is simply an example. As long as you practice, your practice includes invocation or prayer to divine forces of unconditional love, provides structure through which divine energy can flow, and it feels natural and right for you, then it will work for you. Please note that if you have pulled the Pillar of Light card, which, guess what? I'm going to introduce that now because I did pull it. It jumped. Never mind, I pulled. It jumped. So if we did, okay, this special notice here. Where did I go? If you pulled the Pillar of Light card with this one, then including the ritual as a heart of your practice is recommended at this time, especially at this time. At this pause point, we need to take into account our inner prayer. What purpose do we want to come from? Where do we want to go? And what do we want to see in the future? This is what we really need to fine tune ourselves to. And everything else can just hit the road, Jack. We need to think about where we want to go in the future, what we want. We need to visualize this. We need to pray for that. And again, if you don't know, or you don't, just say, for the highest good of all involved, all on earth, highest good, da da da. You'll get there. Okay. They'll line it out for that. Because that's usually what I do is when I go into healing or anybody's readings, I want the information that is going to be for the highest good of all involved. Then you leave nobody out. You're not vilifying anybody. You're not taking sides. Just everybody's going to be working together to get to the highest possible position here. So are they going to, yeah. So here's the practice, okay? It says, if possible, have some music playing softly in the background, a candle handy, ready to light, and rest quietly in a space where you will not be disturbed. And close your eyes. Say aloud, I call upon Isis, who loves me unconditionally, and my own divine self now, in love, light, peace, and power. Blessings, protection, healing, and awakening abound. I dedicate my practice to divine love, so be it. You sit quietly as you listen to the music and light your candles. This is a form of getting the mind into meditative state. With this candle I light, I open my practice in sacred space. You may like to sing or chant or a prayer or poem in devotion to the goddess Isis. Again, that's just, I can feel the grating, Isis, but it's divine love, compassion, and caring, right, for the fellow, as we may move into your practice. So I am divine light. I am love sublime. I am peace beyond space and time. I am. So when you're ready, you close your eyes, become aware of your heart and your body, from the base of your spine down to your toes, towards the crown of your head. So it's almost, they're really going through here, almost like a hypnosis, a self-hypnosis, to the point where we're just aware of all these things calming down our head or scalp or skin. They do this in hypnosis as a technique to relax the body, the physical body. Following your breath, keep your awareness in your body, grounding out, right? Being aware 100% of where you're at. Imagine a soft ball of pure light within your heart, expanding with your breath until it fills your whole body and your energy field extending around your body. Now imagine sealing that light in a bubble of violet and golden in 2 layers wide and strong around your energy field. So this is a form of protection, really, is what they're showing here. Violet is the connection to the universal energies. So they're highlighting that. And the golden is the protection, that you're divinely protected within that channel of stuff. Strong around. When you have done this, gently open your eyes and place your hands in a prayer position with your 4 fingers touching your forehead and bowed slightly. Say, for divine light, love, and protection, I give thanks, right? So divine light, that purple violet, that's that connection to what is true. Love is usually noted in pink, light, whatever. So if you are really coming from love and compassion, I use pink as that color. And then, protection is the gold I see. And when you're ready, just blow out your candle and you're done. These are just mental notations to make you more aware. Because if you go through a ceremony like that, you'll be more apt to remember it because it's out of your sphere, right? It's out of your daily routine. If you do something quickly on the fly, you're more apt to forget it. It's not going to sit and resonate. Another trick I've learned through, I've read some hypnosis books when I was younger. Another trick I learned through hypnosis books, when we talk about really downloading or getting through our subconscious, is really something that I don't do a lot, but lowering our voice and slowing our speed of speech. This hits the subconscious quite highly. I go really fast and really, but people are digesting that, right? But if you really want to remember something, like say you're studying, you talk in a lower tone than you normally do and talk slower. So say, okay, let's go to the next card and I'll show you. Pillar of Light is the next card, LMNOP. Pyramid of, oh no, so Pillar of Light. See, we had the Pyramid of Light, now we have the Pillar. This is interesting. So that protection's there no matter, right? That's no coincidence. Queen, okay, so it's back. Pillar, P-I-L-M-N-O-P. L-M-N-O. Back to Kinder, there it is. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example of how you can, and this really works for, how do you say, for memory, for retaining things. I don't use this enough, honestly, but I'll show you. So this is my normal conversational mode where I'm just shouting out information and, you're going to absorb it and move on, and you may or may not retain it. But when I get to reading here and I do slow down, I'm going to intentively lower my voice and slow it down so that it gets underneath. It's very odd. Suddenly your brain's going, wait a minute, this isn't normal, natural. So your brain kind of absorbs it more. Trust me, it works. I've done it. I don't do it enough. I keep forgetting it's there. So I'm going to start on this card, the Pillar of Light. Now, what did they say? Descent of the Star of Isis. So that's interesting. So it means the coming of the divine feminine, really. Pillar of Light. Descent of the Star of Isis. Beings of light and divinity are calling you now. They wish to connect with you more strongly, and you are being guided to strengthen your energy field to allow more of the divine light that seeks you to flow through your body safely and into expression. That is a little above and beyond. So I don't know why, but they're getting me to explain this to you. So those that may be even interested in hypnosis, have a look at that, because that's getting underneath what is really programmed, like through the conscious, right? Because we have to kind of get through the conscious at this point and get underneath to the subconscious, start dealing with the healing that needs to happen there, or the programming. And we can self-program our own selves. Like we can program our own selves. We are being programmed from the outside through the TV. So we need to kind of override that with our own programming. What do we want out of our life, and what do we want? And that's really what we have to do. So self-hypnosis is a good thing to look up on the internet, and then go in there and look for stuff that fits your vibe. Like if you're worried about, or not worried about, why am I using that? If you're thinking about negative things and want to reverse that, then you go in and you look for all those positive, affirmations they call, right? Those kind of things, and just download that. Some people will listen to positive affirmation with soft music in the back before they go to bed. And then what do you know? You can wake up in a better mood. And not only that, that creates a vibration. Those positive words create a vibration. Every word, just like I said a minute ago, a bad word, it sends out a vibration. Doesn't feel good to me. As you advance, you want to use better words, more higher vibrational words, higher things that affect people in a better way. So this is becoming aware of that process. So I'm going to continue on a normal vibe here with the pillar of light. It was just an example. They wanted me to stress that because some people have a hard time retaining information. This is why this speed that I'm going at is a little bit anti-retentive. So we need to get to a point where we're going over it and allowing it to hit our subconscious. How do we do that? We lower our tone and slow our speed down. And this gives our brain time to catch up. Gives our brain, and I'm bad for this even in the room. I spit out all the information because I'm frantically trying to, one, interpret what I get, two, come up with words on my own sphere there's a high degree of translation that comes from what they give me. There's no words for some of the stuff they give me. So I have to translate to the highest degree that I do at my level, which is not very high for what I get. So I'm doing all these things, translating, and I'm trying to spit it out as quickly as I can, because telepathic transmissions are loaded on 3 or 4 different levels. When I'm talking, it's one level. That's it. You're hearing the words, and that's it. When I'm telepathing, I get an essence of words. I get emotions. I get background feelings. I get visuals. All of that has to be put down into one sentence, like the baseline here. It's very hard to do. So that's why I find I'm very quick when I'm doing these readings, because I want to get everything and not miss. But again, to retain it, you can go through this and write down points and slow it down. And, if you're really serious about it, that kind of thing, or just, the affirmations, just deal with those. Okay. So the pillars of light here, just give me a minute. So it says you are called to allow more divine energy and light to emanate from your body to help build your light body, so that love and healing of the cosmic feminine energies of the star of Isis can descend through you, offering healing light and assistance to humanity, and setting your own heart and soul on fire with divine love and passion. Well, that just sounds groovy. It sounds easy, but it really, these kind of all flow together. It's like the magic is kind of like the prayer, sitting and taking the time to dedicate to an intention going outward. And again, the beginning card here, I feel, is a little bit separate. It's almost like the divine masculine and feminine, an awareness of that. Because at this time, right, there's supposed to be a lot of these coming together, a lot of these twins. And again, they may also be a lot of them separating for good, because there's just some here that just not going to learn the lessons they need. So there may need to be an acceptance of that in some way, shape, or form. Okay, I'm going to continue. Yeah. So, right. Setting your heart and soul on fire with divine love and passion. It is suggested that you first build and strengthen your natural pillar of light within your energy body. Now, like a building, a broadband cable, so that you can receive energy transmissions into your being more easily. Without preparation, it would be likely trying to run high voltage electricity through wires that were not equipped to handle it. So some fire and damage could occur, and the practice would not be safe or sensible. Now, just let me translate that. Um, yeah, they're actually going to a radio as well. You know, when you're tuning a radio, sometimes you can get off the station and you pick up another station that's coming in, and it's not the one you're trying to get or the one you're close to. It's like down the road. It's kind of like that. It's like a dissonance, right? That's what they're saying. And then that creates problems, right? And I feel like that may be where everybody's at mentally, is all this dissonance, because we're getting one story and then it's not making sense with what we feel in our gut. And we can't seem to make a line here. It's all making, so this is really what they're wanting you to do, is create that pillar of light within yourself. Open yourself up to, if it's prayer that you can come to terms with, then just sit and pray, or just sit in silence. Like, this is really all you have to do, is sit in silence for 5 minutes and allow that to be. It's not hard. And they're giving me shit, going, yeah, well, you're not doing it for 5 minutes, because you get caught up, right? And you pick your times that are, you're going to be more successful for this. So the pillar of light is the energy tube of pure white light that connects the soul star chakra above your head and the earth star chakra beneath your feet. And the star of Isis will descend from above your soul star chakra, pouring in grace, light, and healing power until it eventually flows like a river into your earth star chakra, blessing the earth through your body. Now, that's interesting, because that's kind of how I ground. When I ground out before anything, I start with the earth energy to ground, and then I slowly bring that energy up and visualize, as I come from the earth, it's red, right? Or brown, coming from to ground me. And as it transmutes in my body, I make it turn into white, and then we connect. And then I put a sphere around me, protection, and then I focus on whoever's I'm going to like I visualize an energy field going straight to the person that I want to deal with or healing with or whatever. Or if I'm doing like out of my page, then I just encompass the earth, and whoever's on it that's connecting, then they get. And this is something that can be done as well. To help you be more aware of that energy, and literally visualizing it come to you, right? So tube of pure white light that connects the star above your head and the star below your feet. And that's like the grounding and centering and connection. Because it's like Father Earth and Mother's, how is it? Mother Earth and Father Sky, that kind of thing. Connecting those two. We can't do one without the other. There'll be something missing. So we want to connect to everything, ground out, and hit the highs, so that we are connected all the way through. So anyway, the star of Isis, also known as Sirius, rests in the state of bliss and joy, and it has a soul presence of heart, great strength, and stunning spiritual light. This is the consciousness seeking to manifest more fully in service through you now, initiate. So you are becoming more and more ready to sustain you are becoming more and more ready to sustain such high vibration. So really preparing to go outward to others. Once we feel content and secure, we go outward towards others. If you pulled this card, you are encouraged to start a practice on a daily basis as soon as possible. There are higher frequencies waiting to connect more consciously with you for spiritual enlightenment, healing, and guidance, but you will need to prepare your field for the connection so the energy can flow without undue stress or strain on the body. So that's like any resistance that you have, right? You have to get in line with. And so that's why we quiet ourselves, because then we're just more receptive. We've got our mind on all these other things. That's kind of just not receptive. And of course, the body feels pain. I'm learning more and more through the healing that I do that there's absolutely an emotional trigger for physical manifestation of pain in the body. And it is highly linked. It makes rational sense. What was trying to... I'll give you a kind of an absurd example, but it might get through. Like, okay, everybody knows what constipation is. Now, when we have bouts of this, is really a symbol that the body is clamming up and we're not wanting to release anything. So that can be on an emotional level. We're not wanting to express ourselves emotionally. We're not wanting to release things emotionally, blocking that out where it cannot release. So therefore the body is, it's to such a high degree, the body starts feeling pain from it. And this is how it's exhibited. So that's, again, it's kind of a bad example, but it's one that will stick with you because it's, if you look back and you look at the time when you may have had a bout of this, what was going on emotionally for you? Were you in resistance of emotion? Were you holding something back? This kind of thing, it really does. I'm finding more and more triggers. Yeah, that is true. We may be highly in denial of these things, so reject it. But when you really, truly are in truth, yeah, it makes sense. So, yeah, just making aware of that. So again, higher frequencies wanting to connect, right? And if you're in a good state, body and mind, this is easier for them to do, and it's more enjoyable process. Once you start this practice, you will get a sense of how often this will feel right for you. And you do it, if you do it too often, perhaps more than once a day, you may feel lightheaded or ungrounded, too hot, cranky, hormonal, or overheated inside. I get this quite highly. I get that. And that's kind of like you're just doing a lot, right, in that area. So you need to balance. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Ask a question. Thanks for commenting. Go ahead. I'm just going to read the next paragraph and then I'll check back. So yeah, as you grow, you feel the light descending and the energy ascending more and more strongly in your physical body. And as you may feel the energy, or you may not, and that is fine. But an exercise will work and your awareness. Okay, I think I skipped something here. Recommended to attempt to practice more than once a day. Right. Building up to what feels right for you. Now, if the energy is more strongly in your physical body at first, you may feel energy or you may not, and that's fine. The exercise will work your awareness of it at a conscious level and it will grow with the practice. Oh, I skipped a whole paragraph here. Sorry. Are you doing tarot? I'm just doing an overall energetic worldwide energy read. Can I have a love reading? You know what? I will come in soon. I keep saying that, but I will come in soon. I might even come in this weekend. Let's shoot for Sunday. I'm Central Standard Time, 6 p.m. I'm gonna write that down. So let's, if you want, I'll come in Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Because I've been meaning to do this. Now you're making me have to stick to it. So I'll do that on Sunday. I know it's the weekend, but I think everybody's. I'll do that on here. I can't get into my account on Infinity anyway. And then we'll get you. I'll remember that name, Marwa. Yeah. Okay. So I promise. 6 p.m. I'm going to write that on my hand so that I don't forget. Put it in an alarm on my phone. Okay. So there. Done. Okay. Now I got to go back up here. Because I missed an important part here. They're explaining about imbalance. So again, connecting with the pillar of light, right? Pillar of light that goes right through you, ground to whatever, upstairs to downstairs. So once you start, you will get a sense of how often feels right. If you do it too often, more than once a day, you may feel lightheaded or ungrounded, hot or cranky, hormonal or overheated inside, out of balance emotionally, and just not enjoying your practice. So, moderation will lead you more quickly into success when you feel that great balance. It's recommended that you attempt this practice no more than once a day for several minutes at a time, building up to however long feels right for you. And as you grow, you will feel the light descending and the energy ascending more and more strongly in your physical body. At first, you may feel energy or you may not, and that is fine. And the exercise will work, and your awareness of it at a conscious level will grow with practice. So they're just kind of giving you the parameters here. You will also find that, like a better internet connection, as you continue with the practice, your ability to be in conscious communication with your spiritual guidance, to channel healing and other spiritual activities such as meditation will be stronger, clearer, easier, and more powerful. Yeah, because how I started out with my meditation was literally just sitting down at the computer, put headphones on, and I put like instrumental music. And then I started looking up hypnosis for calming, and I kind of played with a few different things. But once I started getting into the habit of just calming the mind at that time, they gave me some time to get into that groove, and then they started shooting me with downloads. So that I say downloads, but shooting me with guidance or talking to me, or and again, this is going to hit every person differently because you're going to have different strengths. I have a clairvoyant strength, also an empathic strength. So they'll hit me with emotions, and then visuals will come, or scenes. Um, and other people may hear voices or hear things, or you may be clairvoyant as well. You may, whatever your strengths are, they will come to you in those ways. And again, and the more that you do that, the more that will expand, right? The more that will you'll open up those other areas. Because the way that I started, they're prompting me. The way that I started was doing that, and then listen, just sitting down, just making that space, that sacred space for that to happen. And then after about a week or two, I literally got a book and started writing things. Like, you get little insights, and it sounds like you're talking to yourself, but it's not you. So it's like your inner voice, but it's them communicating. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. They get a thought, and you will be able to understand what the difference is between a thought and an insight. Once you understand, it's kind of like a thought is you and you have a direction that you're going, but sometimes you get a thought that's not on your wavelength, meaning you get you're thinking, okay, I got to get groceries, and what do I got to do? I got to clean the house, I got to wash the dishes, da da da. So you're thinking about this in your head, and all of a sudden there's something comes out of left field about something completely what you're not thinking about. That's usually guidance. And then you write that down, right? Or you take that into account. That's the inner voice, telling you to do something or be something. And usually another thing too is how to distinguish between ego is that you will not have anger, you will not have a need to win or overcome or anything like that. You will just have things being dropped in your lap, and you can kind of go with the flow. Like, you will not be told what to do as much as guidance on how to do things. So that's what I've found is things to differentiate how to listen. Because a lot of times, it's like, well, sometimes my dad will say, "Why don't you just ask them?" And sometimes I don't go to them as much as I probably should, but a lot of times I will go to them and they just won't give me the answer because it's part of my path to learn and struggle to find it. Because if they give me the answer, I may manipulate things or I may not go in the direction I'm supposed to go. So they have a high awareness of what happens there. So they'll just say, well, we would what's the last thing? I'm trying to remember the last situation they gave me guidance on. Um they just really set out to help me learn my lessons is what they do. And then they'll guide you, but they won't tell you what to do. So if it's in a um I'm going to say egoic tone, but what is that? If they are, in a controlling way, that's not your instinct. It'll come in a way that's compassionate, soft, loving, caring, guide you to your lessons, that kind of thing. That's usually instinct. Anyway, I'm going to carry on. um, where were we here? I don't know if this is where it was, but I'm going to go back. It's recommended that you attempt this practice no more than once a day for several minutes, building up the power to what feels right for you. Now, you will also find that like a better internet connection as you continue with your ability. So as I was listening to music, then I was becoming aware that there was something else there. And then that next week I was actually writing things down and it was pertinent to where I was headed. They're basically giving me guidance to things in the future to look forward to in the future. And again, that can change though. But you will get guidance and da da da. So remember to have mercy if you are using these abilities with others. They may not be used to the degree of electricity that is coming through you, and you want to facilitate good and not cause harm to the person you are helping. So always include the phrase for the highest good. They kind of made that me aware of that quite early. Because sometimes what you perceive is good for that person is not for their highest good. And we can do that very much uninformed. So the intention, like a mother intends to look after her son and protect her son, sometimes it's not in the highest good to do this. The son needs to learn a lesson, da da da, this kind of thing. So we have to be highly, I think, maybe self-centered in that way at first. And then if we do decide to go outward, we always use the word or the phrase for their highest good. And then they will choose how to put that energy uh, in tune with that, in tune with their highest good. Because sometimes we just do not see the fuller picture because we are limited beings. So they are unlimited. They know exactly what and where to put it. So, like, if it's God that you believe in, then you say, God, do it for their highest good, and they will make sure that that happens in the best way possible. Uh, yeah, to not cause harm to the person you're helping. Because we can do this inadvertently, not even meaning to do so. This happens all the time. So stay in your heart and don't be attached to being powerful and allow the divine Isis to manage the power that flows from you to another by asking her for help in unconditional love. And this is, important as well, right? So, yeah, visualization is huge. Now, I'm just going to kind of go over these individually and see if there's anything like, again, I was feeling this is relating to the divine masculine and feminine. I feel like the masculine may be having to let go of something here in high resistance. I mean, I used to do masculine feminine readings. I've kind of stayed away from them. Might have to start that back up. I'm not sure. But here I'm getting like a clinging from the feminine to the masculine, and the masculine in fear and not really being able to cling back or accept any of this love in a proper manner without letting go of whatever it is he's hanging on to, right? It's blocking him, is how I see it. So, not only with this universal shift that's going on, there's a shift going on in the masculine and feminine relationships, period. Again, in my room, I was pumping up the fact that tipping points, shifting points, if we're not in a relationship at this point that is good for us, for our highest good, we are going to truly, really, this is going to be highlighted at this time. We're going to see this more clearly. Yeah, this is not good. This is not right. This is not, because we're being forced to slow our life down and really face what it is we have here. So I feel like this is really just an annotation, if that's the right word, to the relationships, personal relationships, love relationships. This is an annotation of that, and symbolizing there's some release here that needs to happen in the masculine, and the feminine is clinging to something as well, though I'm not getting a sense of what that is. I feel like it might be a domino effect, and they're showing me, my God, might be a domino effect here where we have to figure that out. Like he drops his burden and then suddenly she can deal with her. I don't know. Okay, so the next card we had was magic and ritual. So crafting a sacred practice. So making time for the sacred union between God, if you will, or the energies, as I call. I think it's more than just God was one person. I feel like it's an accompaniment of all of the souls that are highly evolved. So there's just so much to mention up there that I can't just put it at one, right? It encompasses all. So the magic is about creating a space where we can connect to divine energy, right? And then the pillar of light is about the descent of the star of Isis. And I feel like that's really that connection of the energy to us, because we want to make time for this energy to connect, and that's the energy trying to connect, waiting to connect, right? To what? To each masculine and feminine on the earth, really. Now they're wanting me to bring, I'm saying they, but we're going to bring out some infinity cards here to just expand and kind of lighten things up a bit. We'll see where it takes us. So again, we had truths unveiled from the last video, psychic protection, and be in your power and stay true to you. That was before the mass meditation. Now, after, we have a sense here that the divine masculine and feminine relationship is going to have a huge shift. And I feel like it's pertinent on the masculine releasing something. So those in separation or what have you, it's still it's solid, whether you're in union or not in union or waiting. This is really where it's at. The masculine is needing to release, and the feminine is clinging to, again, not aware. It's going to be different, too varied for everyone is the sense, but nonetheless clinging to something. Some could be clinging to their work. Some could be clinging to their future. Some can be clinging to the masculine themselves. Okay. But him needing to release something in order to fully see clearly. Now, what do we have to expand on that? I'm going to shuffle 3 more here. 1. And then we'll see. I'll lighten it up a bit. My cards. Okay. 1, 2, and 3. So the first card. Opposites attract. This was the card that they brought out in the infinity room for me to explain about the traits, right? Water and earth, how they are vastly different yet very supportive of each other, can be if they're in balance, right? So this is the sense here. We got a masculine and a feminine imbalanced. And therefore, and again, I feel like the masculine here is really in a place where he's the first trigger. He's the first domino to fall so that we can get moving. And there's an unawareness of the need of this. And the feminine is clinging highly to that decision or that waiting for that moment to happen, this kind of thing. Okay. Now, opposites attract. That's self explanatory. These are energies that we feel opposing, but again, can be very supportive if in the right balance. And again, those people that are highly drawn to each other, if they cannot balance their energies, they just will not make progress. Okay. So, highly aware of that. Interesting. So, the magic ritual and making time for the universal energies to come forth. We have, this is funny, movie night. So, this is my fling card, right? One night stand card. So, how do we translate that to higher divine energy? Well, let's have a fling and see how it goes. This is what, this is what I'm getting. So, tongue in cheek here, absolutely. Sorry, this is funny. They want you to pull a one night stand with the universe. Let's just try it once and see how it goes. This is what they're giving me, the energy. Try this and see. And that's really what it is. It's just to kind of get bitten by this. And once we do, we're gonna feel, because so many people out there are love starved and also in the way of spiritually starved, right? We're spiritually starved. We're always looking, but nothing is nourishing. And they're going, but this connection to us is really going to be nourishing. So we want to do this to a high degree. So they're going, let's try a fling, one movie night, and we'll see how it goes from there. So this is funny. Okay. So I'm just sorry, lightning things up. So on the pillar of light, and that's about the energy itself connecting to us. It's waiting there till we quiet ourselves and be in the right mode, right? Because we kind of have to meet them halfway with our vibration, and that's keeping calm and peace, right? Because the way they explained it to me when I was first working with them, they're like, it is a far a stretch that we have to come. So if you are anxiety ridden and stressed and in that vibration, we can't affect your field. We can't help you. So you really have to get into a calm state of mind and body and soul in order for us to connect properly. And it is they really were coming 75% here, and I was doing the 25, and now wow, that's interesting, because they're going, it's not much more. Actually, they said we really have to, I guess it's not my strong point to calm myself down enough, but what I do, they're saying, is about 35 now, but which is interesting. We didn't have a discussion about this, but you want to get to where you're meeting 50 and they're meeting 50, so you calm yourself down, and then you can gain all that information without any extra interference. So I just learned something there. So the pillar of light, that's that connection that they want to make with you. Now the card that we got on there is, look at this, purity. And another place that we come from is purity. Now this even got the infinity symbol in it, and it speaks to pure of heart and all of that. So another thing that can muddy up the waters is what the intention is going in, right? So we want to keep that pure. That will help with the connection. We also want to keep the purity going outward, and that really does help. And that's the thing too. If we've got hidden agendas or motives here from ego, we're really going to get tripped up quite highly, because there are trickster energies that attach to that and can make havoc. And you'll find that quite frequently. You'll be eating humble pie quite a lot if you get entangled in that. So be aware that staying humble and pure of heart and all of that will really keep you in tune and be more consistent. We let our ego get out of hand here. We're really, again, we'll be noticing quite highly through those examples. They'll make examples of you, absolutely. Not them. The trickster energies will make example, because they don't have to have consequences, which is interesting. But anyway, yeah, so this is interesting. So talking about keeping highly, some of these twins, and may have had one here that I promised to meet it Sunday at 6, come in and deal with higher views of the relationship, and it is not an easy path. I have dismantled mine. I do not have the power to work within the balance that I've been given in that way. So I've dismantled from mine. Um, so I find it interesting. I don't mean to berate anybody that does. I know what my limitations are, and if they're not met, I just don't go. I've had a hard enough time in my life dealing with that, so I just don't go. Um, so go ahead. I'm just tying it up here, but basically these are the energies for universal. I'm kind of mumbling. Thank you. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I fluctuate quite frequently. But I'll take one question. I don't know if Mar was still in here. Maybe I can go ahead. I'll take one question. Okay, so this is a love interest. Give me a moment here there. Now we're looking at these three cards because they're going, this is consistent with the energy here. So we'll see if this matches. Now, the first card I pulled from my romance deck, no less, is opposites attract. Okay. So because they're going, I was okay, I gotta explain. In my head, I'm going, okay, I'm gonna pull some cards for her. And they said we can relate to the reading right here. We can go back to the reading right here and it'll fix everything. Now, there's a sense here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you may feel like this person is opposed to you in some way. Now, Fling, we may have had an intense moment or incidents with that person, and we have a pure heart, but is that matched on the other end? Okay. Now, I will pull, they're telling me to go from the bottom of the deck here. So I will flip it and show you what ideas. We have some thoughts and ideas in our own mind. Now, the sense here about, because I was getting a vibration here where we have frequency is not matching. Okay, something's wrong here. And that's your instinct going, something has to be fixed. Now, we may have had an intense meeting. And again, we're coming from a pure heart, but there's an example of it not being matched on the other end, is what I'm getting. Hey, Chasta, thanks for coming in. So, shoot, sorry, I'm trying to make sure my scrolling goes down. I think what we had was an intense, because you asked, what is it? How does he feel? Okay, I'm gonna have to pull. What did we have? Some ideas. Okay, so they told me to look underneath. How does he feel? There's ideas here. So there's a sense we have an instinct. Now I'm gonna try and pull this out of you. Why? Because you need to learn this for your own way forward. Now, you have an idea in your head of what this man feels for you, good or bad, or both. We have both, and maybe we're confused, right? So we don't know. Now, there's a high sense here from the beginning that we're very different beings, okay? And because of this, there's a lot that needs to be learned in order to move forward. So take it slowly and respectfully. Now, if this is not given to you, the respect, take that into high account as a direction we need to go, because the purity here needs to be high on the other end. And I feel like that's in question. That's a question mark. Either we haven't known this person long enough to understand that where our boundaries lie. Yeah, we need to be very it's kind of like a how you say, like a meeting point, right? Cuz you really do have information in your mind that is accurate is what they're saying. So we just need to keep going down that road. Um, be aware that there are differences and just stand up to those. If if those are boundaries, be aware that those might be boundaries you need to lay. If they are, lay them quickly, and that will reveal the character you're dealing with. You know, if they refuse or are resistant to that, because the sense here is we're coming from purity, but one, we're not aware if that's matched on the other end yet. So just keep going down the road with the ideas that you're getting and be upfront. Just try not to resist uh, sharing. And that means as well as the violations of this. Make him aware, make that person aware of the violations that may be coming here, because that's really what you want to find out, whether or not this person can stand up to that or not. And you'll know quite quickly. Either way, I get a softer sense like this person might be a little shocked or jarred at what you're noticing. Like he may be not thinking as deeply as you're thinking. But if you are informed and you let him know where you're at, then you'll get a response back and you'll just have to deal with where that sits. You just kind of have to have courage to stand up for what you want, because the sooner you do that, the sooner you'll get a match to that. And if he's not a match, then you'll realize that and move toward something you truly do want. I feel like this is just kind of budding, and it's in a way that we just don't know enough about the partner yet. And he may be taking things a little lighter. Yeah, communication is huge. Yeah. So hopefully that helps you. uh Now they want me to go back into the spiritual cards as well for you. So just give me a minute here. Because I feel a great kind of an explosion, and then all of a sudden now all the sparkles are hitting the ground. So we got to realize where this is. We may have kind of jumped guns here in the romance area. So when we're talking about this here is clinging to that masculine to the feminine and a fear, be aware this man may have some fears in relationship he's yet to conquer. So be sensitive to that, because he may be triggered by things. So try and be as compassionate as you can or as soft as you can in dealing with them forward. Ritual, again, being highly aware of your instinct and what it's telling you. And not only that, able to react from that as well. So not only receive the messages, I feel like you're getting a lot going through your brain. You may even be an air sign. Do I see his feelings? I see him not being balanced as you feel for him. He does not feel for you, but the potential could be there if we're open and communicative. I see it as an accepting energy, but again, being aware of boundaries, right? So it's not to tread. Virgo suns. Oh, okay. So Earth. Okay. So you're very, yeah, you would be very more prone towards action and whatnot. Now, I'm getting a very passive energy from him. And again, I feel like this kind of combusted, like we kind of got heated. And then now we're realizing where we sit. So that's really an awkward point for any relationship to be at, because now we got to realize who we are to each other. And I feel like your focus is more invested. Um, so he just has to learn to match that somehow. Uh, I don't feel like he's using you. I just feel like he may be taking relationship less heavy than you may be. So there's potential here. It's just a matter of how we deal with it in the way that we deal, right? So Yeah, be aware of cleanness within this, like being open and connected, but yet still imparting freedom. And then be aware of your instinct and what wants to come from your higher self and driven. And again, we can get driven in areas to learn lessons, right? So, whatever you feel from your heart, just try and come from that as much as you can. And there's a purity again. I feel that highly from you. Not that it's not from him. I just feel a softer, lighter sense. Like it's just the gravity here on his end is a lot less than we're taking it more serious than they are. So we have to make them aware of that so that they can either match it or say that's too much, or and then we can adapt our parameters. That's what I'm feeling. It is always right. Yeah. So yeah, and I get a sense from you, you may be conflicted that am I looking at this partnership and going, is this going to be too different? Or am I, because I feel like you don't feel comfortable, but you want us try and make it work to make it feel comfortable. And we may have had, it may have come together as a fling, right? It may have come together in a way that's, was quite heated at first. And now we got to, okay, guilt. They're putting like an exclamation point on that guilt. So you have to dig into that guilt and see why that truly is. Because understand the waste of time. Don't waste your time. All you have to do is be upfront. The guilt, you can take that away by being totally upfront with him and say, look, I feel this way. How do you feel? And, kind of given that banter back and forth. And then if we can agree to disagree, then we part our ways and there's no harm done. It's just the communication at this point needs to be open and honest so that we're not sneaking away or trying to get away from something or trying to sneak in when the other partner doesn't feel. So, and if there's a lack of communication or want, then that has to be addressed as well. And I don't know, it's always easy to say that being outside of it. But if you're a Virgo, you'd be very attuned to that. um, and I think you can accomplish that to a great degree in a successful way. Thank you. um, I feel like there could be a potential here. And I think you could be very on the button with it and confronting him and say, look, this is what I need. The problem may be on the other end of them being ready or mature enough in that way to go in that direction. Whether they're truly there or not, or they want to put that effort in or not, that's a question mark. I don't know. Because I feel a passiveness on that end. It's kind of like passive, not taking things too seriously, but I'm interested, but I just don't know how serious I want to be, right? This is what I'm getting. But you have your ideas, and I feel like that's kind of like look what card it's on, the instinct. You need to go with that flow because you're on the right river. You're on the right river, you're going in the right direction. So you just need to follow that path down. I think you know in your mind what you're doing, you just not making action from it. So we need to start making action from that, and that will prompt him to not waste your time. Like you'll be kind of in his face going, don't waste my time. And then he'll say, well, and you'll know by the answers, you'll know by what he gives you whether he's going to continue to do this or not. And then it's action speaks louder than words here. This is where you truly suss out the intention here is that action that he takes. If he doesn't take no action, then you're going to be wasting your time. So you just carry on, right? So hopefully that helps you in that way. So anyway, I'm going to head out here. Basically the energies there. Take the before meditation and after meditation energies highly into account over this time. I feel when these energies lift, people, is when we're going to have to take action. We're going to have to stand our ground because I feel like we're going to be highly, there's going to be trickster energies out there coming forth quite heavily. Thank you. To you as well. Take care over this time. What is? Why does that? I don't know, it held that back. But anyway, so yeah, just a high need to come forth and do this reading for the last 3 days. They've been pushing me, and I haven't been. But nonetheless, um, I'm just going to review quickly here. Twins and relationships that are high vibrational are going to be highly affected over this time for the good or bad. I feel like a hammer coming down here, and this is, kind of finalizing these things. And this could be in personal relationships, period. We're suddenly seeing what we need to deal with or what we've been putting aside for such a long time already. It's highly what I get with the energies over this time. And again, when we come out of this in this way, now in my mind, I'm going, how much longer can this go on, right? And now, before a lot of this hit the fan, so to speak, for huge energy frequency fluxes, I got June, July, the end of July, the latest is what I got for energy flux. That was not talking about all this virus stuff. Okay. Now, as I've pinging off other people and how do you say, absorbing frequencies, I feel the end of April is quite highly significant in whatever way. Either there's going to be a shift, or there's going to be an end, or there's going to be some kind of a dramatic change. Okay. This is what I'm guided. Now, what that's going to be, it can be different things. This can be maybe one country going back to work, or one country going back to, could be the one that I'm in, which is Canada or North America. I'm not sure. Or it could be a point where the energy shift in a way that people are starting to change how they feel in contentment. So, because in my mind here, a lot of the reasons why, don't get me wrong here, whatever's hitting people is hitting people, but the reasons why are not making sense to me, that we need to be under lockdown. This is not making. So if we're going to stay in this too long, I think those energies understand, those dark energies understand they can't do this for much longer and get away with it. People are going to start to just go about their business anyway. So that's kind of the crux point I'm waiting for next, is the end of April, to see what happens then. Now, we just had this full moon come in. And as much as I absorb the universal energies, I feel like we're on the other side of the fence now. And we're kind of coming to the home stretch. Now, I do not feel the news will reflect that for quite some time, but I could be wrong there. I'm starting to actually see evidence of things leaking out already that are highly within the conspiracy lines. Now, where do you stand, right? Because it's all a big cluster bunch and you can't get through it. So what do you do with it all? So just trying to suss my way through very quietly. Again, feeling all these energies, I feel like something has been reached here, but how it will affect outwardly in the perception coming back at us, I don't know. But again, I feel like no matter what happens here, I feel whoever is in the negative is really just going to carry out their agenda, no matter if they've got backing or not. And that's where we may need to stand our ground. So whatever that turns out to be, in whatever direction, I think highly instinctive people are going to understand where this sits, and they're highly going to push from that. And those that are asleep are just going to fall away from that. And that may be where this splitting point happens. They're going to fall prey to it. And those that are instinctive will not. They will absolutely feel and be guided to not. So this is the thing. They're wanting you to get in touch with your instinct as quick as you can, so that you can be guided in the right ways to go down the right road here, because we don't want to be tricked by these energies. And it's, again, I don't know, a lot of that's going to come completely to the surface. I think there's going to be still an underground. It's like a battle of news, truth and untruths. Like it's a big cloud. So where do you got to use your gut. And if you're on the wrong side of the fence, it's going to lead you down the wrong road. So you got to be pure of heart, mind and body, and tap into that energy, and that hopefully will guide you in that direction. If you're not pure of mind, heart, and body, you're full of anger, resentment, fear, you're going to get led down the other road. It's really how I see it. So hopefully this reading somehow helped. Again, go back to the before, and that was before the meditation, the mass meditation. So there's a shift of energy here. Just let me see here. They're wanting me to make a difference. Yeah, it's just to really focus, is to not rest on our laurels here, not to relax and say, oh, it's all taken care of. They're going, it is not. We have work to do here, and it's coming when things lift. When the lifting happens, that's when we got to take action. And again, not violence or anything like that, but we need to stand in our power and make our decisions from what is true to you. Yeah. Use that pillar of light to tune into your instinct, and take time every day to do this. And then miracles of miraculous healing can come from that if we do that. So hopefully that helps. Again, I think I'll be coming out with Carrie Ann sometime this weekend as well. And I'll make a highlight Sunday at 6 p.m. I am no longer able to go in infinity reading, so I might have to shut that down on Facebook, because I'm no longer able to go live. So until, I might try that again here one time before. If not, I'll be just doing everything live out here, and then I'll eventually have to shut that down, unfortunately. But I can't go live in there. So, whatever. I'll figure it out. Other people are going live, so it's obviously a shadow ban or something, or there's something going on there. So be aware of that. Anyway, take care, guys. Have fun and be kind. And yeah, thanks to all the care workers. I have a lot in my circles. You know, you are, Tracy, Randy, you guys are doing a lot of great work wherever you are. Some people are way up north and whatnot. Take care wherever you're at. Be kind and have fun. We'll talk to you soon.